The world lost another life in a very sad, tragic way. I'm talking about excuse me, Daffney Unger, aka Shark Girl. Still remember when she beat Awesome Kong. Wrestlelicious, she was Draculetta. Freaking loved it. That was Jimmy Hart's gimmick wrestling with all females wrestling promotion. It's a good promotion too. I had fun with it. It was a throwback. She was Sarah Palin, the governor in TNA, and she was Daffney in WCW. She was hardcore with women's wrestling before there was hardcore women's wrestling. And I think her and Harley Quinn debuted at the same time, but I swear I remembered seeing Daffney before Harley Quinn. She was wild, she was vivacious, she was goofy, and just enjoyable. And back in the day in WCW, it was her, Crowbar, and David Flair. I remember watching them back in the day. And she's had a rough few years, because I followed her on social media, Instagram, seeing her stuff, and she was going through a lot of medical issues, and it was like every time she turned around there was something else going on with her body and everything else. And she had a very intense live stream, we'll just say, and she was crying and she was speaking about how she was truly alone. And I know Mick Foley, Shane Helms, I think it was like Vance Archer, Crowbar even was trying to get in touch with her with the live stream. While she was crying uncontrollably, there was a weapon that was, from what I understand, that was in her hands. And sad to say, she left this earth. And before I go any further, I want people to understand something. If you're going through it, you're not alone. Reach out, burden somebody. Trust me, they'll be happy you did. Especially when you're going in crisis. She having such a rough time, it's sad. She's 45, or she was 45, and it's just sad that this is how it ended for her. If you don't know who she is, definitely go back, check her out. She used to have these great promos with Mean Gene Okerlund, and especially when you find out later on social media, they just kind of winged it, and she always did like crazy stuff. She was the first goth kind of style wrestler, like female, I've ever seen. She was beautiful, she was cute, she was funny, but then yet she knew how to play this dark side too. Like when she was Daffney in Impact, after being a governor, she was a good actress. Like she could imitate, and she played this part, and it was like, whoa. And she played this darker version of herself. She was so good at it. But then yet she could also be Shark Girl, which was with like Shark Boy, and was super duper entertaining and was awesome. And she had like this beautiful tapestry of tattoos, and it's just a really sad situation for a legend of her. Like, she was the Cruiserweight champion. One of the first women I ever can remember winning a male championship, and was holding it on and doing the wrestling and taking bumps, and she was different. And then she went into like this zombie kind of style thing, and like adjusted her character. She was so good at it, and it just sucks that she's gone. And she left behind a legacy, and honestly, I feel she is one of those women pioneers in wrestling. She was different. She was bold and she stood out. And every character that she did, it was like she would play it and it would feel completely different, which is a really rare and awesome talent that a few wrestlers can really pull off, where they are a completely different person. It just stinks, man. Like, and I know she was going through it, and it's sad that it just happened. And like I said, was an incredible talent. I've only ever heard of her being nice. She was always, you know, with the smiles and stuff, and she would give updates about what was happening with her physically. I know stuff with her legs and everything, and I just wish it didn't go down this way. I wish I wasn't having this video to bring back this R.I.P. segment. And I'm going to start bringing them back, because there's a few people that have passed, and my friend and I were talking, and he was like, hey, why did you stop doing those? And I was like, sometimes they get a little rough. Just going through it and, you know, trying to and anything like that. But he was like, hey, man, I really like them and everything. And it was nice that, you know, you get your thoughts out there and your kind words and stuff. So I was like, yeah. And you know what? I have something to say, you know, about these people when they're important to me. Like, because she was. I watched her for years. I remember her premiere to, like I said, to the stuff later. And I just want to share some thoughts. And, you know, these people are people, and she's awesome. And that's just how I felt. And he's right. I want to share and give some stuff, you know, maybe somebody didn't know. I've had that happen where someone's like, hey, I didn't even know this. So yeah, you know, I think it's time that this comes back, and she needs to be appreciated. And I hope the wrestling world, like I'm talking about from AEW to New Japan to Impact to even WWE, I hope they all show her some major respect, because she was one of the first. Like I said, she was different. She was one of the first ones to take that bump. She was one of the first ones I seen get in a ring with guys, like when she had to wrestle the artist and stuff like that. It's just, there was a lot to Daffney, and she contributed so much to what we now know as Women's Revolution and women's wrestling as of today. And I feel like she was faded into the back a little bit. I always remembered her. I always enjoyed her. And her last big run I remember was on Impact, where it was Dr. Steve, when Steven Richards was being Dr. Steve, and they were being a therapist for Abyss, and they were kind of like a certain type of faction. And she like had the little hat on, and she was still Daffney, but she like played this new kind of version. She was so good at it, and she had like a different look and a different style, and it was just incredible. If you want to go and check her out, I definitely say do it. She was entertaining from top to bottom, and everything I've ever heard of, she's always been sweet, kind, and generous. And I'm sorry, Daffney, that you felt alone in your time of need. But I want you to know that I had love for you, still do. And I know there's a lot of people who are much closer to you than I ever would be, who also have love for you, and they're missing you already. It's rough. And yeah, like I said, check her out. She was Cruiserweight champion. See when she was Shark Girl. Just go YouTube just her and experience some of the awesomeness of who she was, and how sad it is that a light of a person got snuffed out. Hopefully people will take this and understand that you're not alone when these kind of terrible things happen, when you're feeling like that. And it's hard, and I know it's hard. Trust me, I go through them myself on a hard time. I have those low days. So yeah, and this needs to be another lesson that people have to stop acting like mental health issues is a 4-letter word. The thing that happened with Simone Biles, where that guy was coming, year of the week, like, no, that's trash. Stop doing that. You don't know what a person's going through. You don't know what it is all the time. Athletes back in my day, and look what happened to a lot of them. It's hard doing these kind of things, and I hope, if anything anyone can take from this, is that if you need help, get it. Burden somebody. Talk to somebody. Because trust me, there's a ton of people, when they couldn't find where she lived, I was reading about that, like Mick Foley and them were trying to find her. And I'm like, wow, they didn't even know where she currently lived. And that's not a shot against them. That's how secluded she became. So I hope today you take the time to check out some old videos, get some old memories. I was talking to my boy, just having some fun times. Like, hey, remember when she did this with Crowbar? And I actually did get to see her live when they traveled for a bit, and they came out in Jersey, and Crowbar was the champion. It was an indie show, and she was actually with them. I didn't get to meet her personally. I would have loved to. She's actually one of my favorites. I just always thought she was gorgeous and just great. And I was like, oh man, gothic girl, you know, she's super pretty, and she's entertaining, and she's funny, and she's awesome. That's how I was, you know. I was younger. She wasn't that much older than me. So definitely check her out if you don't know who she is, and if you do, go check her out and just guarantee she'll put a smile on your face. Just watch an interview with her and Mean Gene, and you're gonna chuckle. Remember though, you got help when you need it. This is the Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you.